For the Cardinals continues this afternoon, and John Mabry, the Cardinals hitting coach, looking for some offense. It's next.
Very warm and windy afternoon from Roger Dean Stadium. It's spring training 2013, and this afternoon, the St. Louis Cardinals play host to the New York Mets. And welcome to Cardinals baseball. That's the Mad Hungarian Al Hrabosky. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and with the wind blowing out, this is the perfect day to have a sinker baller on the mound. And the Cardinals go with Jake Westbrook.
Well, Jake is a ground ball master. He has the best percentage in the National League at gaining ground balls, and with the wind blowing out, that's a good idea.
And the Cardinals' offense has been struggling the last couple of days. Mike Matheny wants to get that going. He says, we don't want to develop bad habits even down here. It's spring training. It's part of our Toyota keys to the game and what they've done the last two games.
Been shut out the last two games. As a matter of fact, they have not scored in their last 22 innings. Earlier this spring, they had a streak of 29 scoreless innings. But many times, the big bats are not in the lineup.
The Cardinals face one of the top young prospects for the Mets, Matt Harvey, a heart thrower, and we'll see him go for Terry Collins' club. The New York Mets, the St. Louis Cardinals, coming up on Fox Sports Midwest.
The Cardinals and Mets from Roger Dean Stadium. The Cardinals had an even 500, 10-10, one tie this spring. The Mets 7-10-3 overall. Terry Collins brings a lineup with a lot of youth here to Roger Dean. Jordani Valdespin will lead things off, and this is brought to you by Fairmount Park. And then Ruben Tejada, Travis d'Arnaud, Lucas Duda, Zach Lutz, Matt Dendecker, Brandon Hicks, Omar Quintanilla. And the pitcher today is Matt Harvey. And today, Jake Westbrook making his 4th start of the spring this afternoon for the Cards.
35 years of age now. He's won 25 games for the Cardinals the last 2 seasons. See his numbers this spring. You would think with the best ground ball pitcher in the National League, he'd have a lot more success. And still trying to put things together. His final year in his contract, and hopefully it'll be a real big one.
Defense behind Jake today. Chambers, Jay, Tavares in the outfield. Ronnie Cedeno has started 3rd. First started short this spring for Daniel Descalso. Matt Carpenter, a familiar spot down here. He's at 2nd. Matt Adams over at 1st. Tony Cruz is behind the plate. Oscar Tavares in his natural position of right field, but they've been playing him all over the place. Center, left, and a lot of ABs getting a long look at the #1 prospect of the Cardinals. The first pitch is taken high by Jordani Valdespin, who has 4 home runs for the Mets, and that leads their club this spring. He's batting .378, and he's driven in 8 this spring.
He's tied for first in home runs in the Grapefruit League. Having a very good spring.
Here's a 1-1 by Jake Westbrook. Mets have a ton of question marks going into opening day. #1 would be the health of David Wright, as he was injured in the World Baseball Classic. He's out with a rib injury. And then they're very unsettled in their outfield spots. That was bounced off the plate and back into the face of Valdespin. 2-2.
Valdespin is lucky he didn't get hurt more seriously, as he kind of hits as he's got a lot of head movement, and get that head out over the plate, or in this case he fouled that ball off the plate, comes up and hits him in the face.
Here's a 2-2. Valdespin was hit by a fastball by Justin Verlander the other day, and he was hit in an area that you don't want to be hit in.
Let's just say he wears a cup now.
Yes, he does.
And didn't wear one before.
Correct.
I don't know what that means.
Higher pitch to his voice, too. It ties him up in on his hands.
These Mets, they're kind of a mess right now. They've got a lot of serious injuries, a lot of question marks. Then they have about 4 or 5 guys that are probably going to make Terry Collins' ball club, but they're non-roster players. So they're going to have to take young kids off the roster to provide spots at the major league level. And they don't have a lot of depth.
Concern with Daniel Murphy for opening day. Valdespin can play both the infield and the outfield. And a slow roller hit to 2nd. Carpenter charging it and makes the play.
Good jam shot right there. And for those who are wondering about the experiment of Matt Carpenter at second base, I think the experiment is over. He has convinced everyone, including himself, that he can play second base very well.
And oh, by the way, he's hitting .410. That
probably
helps.
The most amazing thing, that trying to learn a new position, and yet you maintain the strength of the batting average. That's why they wanted him to become a second baseman. Keep that bat in there.
Here's our everyday shortstop, Ruben Tejada. Tejada, 114 games last year. He had 289 as the replacement for Jose Reyes. Signed with the Marlins in the offseason, and this past offseason traded up to Toronto.
Tejada, they're a little concerned about his defense. In those 100-plus games, he made about 12 errors.
Terry Collins wanted him at camp early this year and last year. He didn't do it a year before. That eased some of the concerns as he arrived early. Fly ball into right. Tavares, Wynn playing tricks on that, and makes the catch. There's so much about his bat, and the Cardinals have said defensively pretty good.
Well, there's little aspects to the game. And obviously, his notoriety comes for swinging the bat, offensive numbers. So running the bases, fielding, some of those things where he was behind a little bit, but catching up.
Darno, a chopper towards short, long throw by Descalso. Makes the play. Nicely done by Daniel. 1-2-3 inning for Jake Westbrook. Still coming in the ballpark here at Roger Dean. Yep, you got to have a little faith. Could be a long year. They were 74 and 88 a season ago and trying to avoid their 5th losing campaign. It's a packed house here at Roger Dean Stadium. Glad you're with us on your home of the Cardinals, Fox Sports Midwest. A look at Mike Matheny's lineup today. John Jay leads it off, then Matt Carpenter and Matt Holliday. Adams, Taveras, Descalso, then Cruz, Chambers, and Cedeno. That's brought to you by Fairmount Park, and this lineup is loaded up with lefties. Matt Harvey making his 5th start this spring, and he is considered one of the top prospects, not just for the Mets, but in all of baseball.
Good-looking right-handed pitchers. Had 20 starts at AAA, and then 10 starts at the big league level, and actually pitched with an ERA a full point lower at the major league level.
Averaged 11 strikeouts per 9 innings in those 10 games in the big leagues.
Supposed to have about a 95 to 97 mile-an-hour fastball. Both curveball and slider, and an improving changeup, but likes to compete.
2 balls and no strikes on John Jay. Hitting .231. Hits it down the left field line. That'll slice foul and out of play. John very easily could have had 3 hits yesterday. If you get 3 hits in a game, in a spring training game, you jump from 200 to close to 300. Looks a lot better. 2 balls and 1 strike on Jay. Had the chance out to travel down to Miami about a month ago, and John Jay held a bowling fundraiser for the Boys and Girls Club down there and wants to give back, and he said, I'm going to do the same thing in St. Louis. He's going to hold a fundraiser for the kids in town that need some help. Really, he's turned into a leader of this franchise, and he strikes out to start it offensively for St. Louis. Let's meet the Mets defensively. Lucas Duda in left, Valdespin in center. Then Decker is in right. Then Hicks, Tejada, Quintanilla, and Lutzel on the infield. Darno is behind the plate. In steps Matt Carpenter. .410 average this spring. No homers. He's driven in 3. Should be very interesting to see where the numbers will end up for Matt Carpenter. How many at-bats he gets this season with a position change. Bottom line, that's why they're doing this. They want to see him in the lineup. Base hit into right. And a one-out hit for Carpenter.
Dan, I think the great news about Carpenter is that Descalso got the message also. And Descalso is having a very good spring. We know he's a superior fielder to Matt Carpenter. But because he can hit, Carpenter can hit, he's going to find himself in the lineup more times than not. And really, I think Descalso has responded. He hasn't done anything to lose that second base job either.
He's also made a big adjustment at the plate with his stance and how he is handling the bat. Here's Holiday, who's hit 182, couple of home runs, and 4 driven in.
Matt had the illness, the flu-like symptoms, kept him away from the ballpark for a while, but he was really swinging the bat well in spring training or in batting practice. I don't worry about him.
He was ready to call time and step out. Now he's back in. The 0-1 pitch. And it's 0-2. Mention how this young right-hander is trying to develop those secondary pitches, in particular the curveball. They say the changeup is pretty good. You talked about the velocity with the fastball, but really has worked on his curveball an awful lot.
And Warden's the pitching coach, and Terry Collins and I were talking about Harvey, and a lot of today's youngsters, they all have curveballs, they all have sliders. When I played, it was rare that somebody had both pitches. You either had one or the other. And you perfected the one instead of ended up in between with a slurve.
1-2 the count. 2-2. Harvey coming off a start against Washington. 4 innings, 6 strikeouts in that game. He was the 7th overall pick. 2010, only 23 years of age. Pitched collegiately at North Carolina. The 2-2.
Harvey's major league debut, he struck out 11. And that was the most in the Mets franchise for a pitcher making his major league debut.
Mets ownership situation with the loss of millions of dollars in the Ponzi scheme by Bernie Madoff. You've seen a drastic cut in payroll. They're trying now to build within. Omar Minaya, when he took over, it was more about win now, and they nearly did. Had late season collapses, though, in 2 regular seasons back-to-back, and that was on the heels of losing in 7 games to the Cardinals back in 2006.
And now it looks like their farm system is very thin.
The 2-2. Holiday hits it out to left. Lucas Duda makes the catch. There's 2 outs. What's interesting that in this ball game here you see at shortstop Descalso, and it does tie in my mind, to what we're seeing here with Matt Adams. If Matt Adams makes the club, could be at the expense of a backup infielder. So Descalso would then play as a backup shortstop, and Adams would be a guy that comes off the bench and could spell Craig.
And Matt, the worst thing about Matt is he's a single position player. He only plays first base, but he looks like he's got an excellent chance of making the ball club because of the way he's swinging the bat. He also lost a bunch of weight, and he told me it's really paying off on the inside pitch.
Shortened up. Mentioned yesterday how he's really concentrated on taking everything up the middle or driving it to left, and then on that inside pitch being able to open up and get through.
Trust your hands.
Two outs and a runner at first, and a 1-1 pitch to Matt Adams.
You know, young hitters or hitters in general do not like to be jammed. Kind of, it's a badge of honor that you don't want to have the reputation you can get in on hitters. But sometimes in an effort to be conscious of that inside pitch, they give the outer portion to the pitcher.
The 2-1 is hit to the second baseman, Quintanilla, playing on the outfield grass. A base hit, that was Carpenter, and he is left stranded. Matt Carpenter hitting well above that 400 mark this spring. After an inning of play here in Jupiter, no score. Fan-friendly values throughout this season. You're looking for ways to save some money. Head to the ballpark. Make sure to check out the Fan Value Corner at Cardinals.com/values. Inside pitch to Lucas Duda. Fan-friendly values that includes the Hunter Family Sundays and the Ice Cream Sundays. Six Flags double play combo. Shift was on, and it's knocked down by Cedeno, playing a normal spot. Basically at shortstop, and he's your third baseman today.
Ronnie, last season you see no shortstop in that pitcher until the third baseman comes into view. Knocked it down, knew who was running, took his time, and gunned him out. Ronnie was with the Mets last year.
In steps Zach Lutz. Could play third, he can play first, and with the uncertainty of David Wright, Terry Collins taking an extended look at him. He played in 7 games a year ago. Grounds it to third, that's fair. Cedeno off balance, and the pick at first by Matt Adams. That's 5 up, 5 down with 4 ground ball outs to start the game for Jake Westbrook.
That's what you want to see from Westbrook. Even if they get hits, if they're ground balls, you still give him a plus grade. And infielders are on their toes, knowing that every pitch could be a ground ball their way. Nice play. Cedeno picked it, off-balance throw, and Matt Adams the other end. He's big, but he is pretty nimble around the bag, and you expect him to make those kind of plays.
Matt Dendecker. Terry Collins said high praise for the right fielder today in his lineup. Compared him to Jim Edmonds defensively. He has made some highlight reel grabs in the minor leagues in this spring training. It's been an unbelievable show defensively. They know he's above average at the big leagues, but can he hit at this level? And Terry Collins said if he could hit 250, 15 to 17 home runs, he'd be perfect, but they're not sure he can do that. He's 25 years of age now, and he's never played in the big leagues. Waves at that pitch. It's a strikeout for Jake Westbrook. And the Cardinals will have Taveras, the #1 prospect, coming up when we come back. Roger Dean Stadium. You can sit on that grassy hill down the right field line, and chance for the kids specifically to interact with the guys in the bullpen. It's designed that way, and special tickets and passes to get down there for the kids, and the players have been very, very accommodating to the children that come to the ballpark, as they should be.
As they should be.
Oscar Taveras leads it off. He's hitting .283. 2 home runs this spring. One of those a grand slam, and he has 9 RBIs. Wouldn't anticipate him breaking camp with the Cardinals, but very well could see him at some point this year.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt. He will make his major league debut in 2013. He's only 20 years of age. Texas League MVP a year ago.
I was talking with Mike Matheny and asking him about the communication between he and Taveras, and Mike speaks Spanish, so Mike was very impressed with how Oscar actually the other day took a minor leaguer, helped him along. And a lot of the major league players during the offseason, guys like John Jay, Molina, Beltran, called Mike out of the blue and said, put his locker next to mine. I want to be able to talk to this guy and help him along. The 2-1 pitch. Taveras hits a rope to short, and it's caught by Tejada.
When he makes outs, they usually are like that. Ball.
Sent the Midwest girls over to Germany, and you can watch Fox Sports salutes the troops Sunday at 11:30. They were put through a boot camp, and you can see that Sunday 11:30 only here on Fox Sports Midwest. Mentioned earlier that Daniel Descalso has changed his swing a little bit. Hit .227 last year in regular season play. And he was showing me before the game down in the cage, it all started with his top hand. And instead of just trying to guide the barrel of the bat through the zone, the top hand allowing him to get it through with some authority. He did this at mid-season last year.
It was very difficult to do. And last year, not only did he only hit .220, but it was a weak .220. No production. This year, he already has 2 home runs, and was talking about with that new refined mechanics, he now is in a position where he could drive the ball, and sometimes it'll go out.
Here's the 0-2. A check swing did not go.
Good buddy, Angel Hernandez.
And he waves at that pitch, a strikeout number 2 today for Matt Harvey. Big Cardinal fans, Barrett and Olivia, are watching at home and want to say hello to all their family and friends. Barrett and Olivia, as Descalso chased a ball out of the zone.
Like he wasn't really ready for that pitch. And just a reminder, when you get in that batter's box, you get very ready. An off-speed pitch, and he was way out in front.
A lot of playing time this spring for Tony Cruz, with Molina off at the World Baseball Classic. His team still alive. Team Puerto Rico.
Beat Japan last night.
Did that last night. Those games have shifted now to San Francisco. Been a lot of travel for those guys. Team Puerto Rico trained here for a while, then games in Puerto Rico, back here in Miami, and then off to the other side of the United States in San Francisco. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Pretty good breaking ball that time.
Yes. Throws hard. You have to recognize it early. Looked like it had a tight rotation to it.
Held on to by the catcher. That's Darno, and 2 strikeouts in the inning, 3 thus far through 2 innings of play for Matt Harvey. On tap, we're back at it again tomorrow, right here on Fox Sports Midwest. The Marlins and the Cardinals will come your way at noon. What's on tap brought to you by Budweiser. Shelby Miller, his second start of the spring, and he'll be followed by Joe Kelly. A chance to see those two battle for the 5th spot again.
And like I said, last time it was Kelly starting and Miller relieving. This time they'll flip-flop them, trying to make it a fair competition.
This is Brandon Hicks. He was acquired by the Mets for cash in November as he came over from the Oakland A's. Fighting for a backup spot, but his fielding has been poor this spring, and he hasn't hit. Just 133.
172 last year with Oakland. You can see that great movement on the singing action of Westbrook. Sometimes the ball moves so much it can't stay in the strike zone.
We saw yesterday with Lance Lynn fighting mechanics, and he's got 2 more starts to figure it out before we get it going for real.
I talked to Lance after the game yesterday, and I said, you finally subscribed to my theory. You know, you go out there and pitch 5 shutout innings and don't give up any hits, you don't get enough work. So you got to give up a few hits.
And he did that.
And he got his work in.
He got his work in. A lot has been made of the weight loss for Lance Lynn, and he even addressed that after the game yesterday. It is an adjustment for him. There's another ground ball, but tapped foul.
And it's always becomes a very easy and convenient excuse. Lose weight, you don't pitch well. Well, you can't pitch that light. But I think he is fully on board. He likes the fact that he lost the weight.
I think we'll know more about it when you get into those hot summer months.
Sure.
And he starts going deep into games and doesn't run out of gas.
I think that's the point. And like Adams has lost a lot of weight, and he says he can really feel it in his body, just how much better he feels.
Second strikeout for Jake Westbrook. He looks sharp.
And I mean, Jake was the perfect pitcher. When you talked about Dave Duncan's, what he wanted to get a pitcher, pitch to contact, throw ground balls. See that movement there, just boring in on a right-handed batter.
That was our Hyundai replay. Here's Omar Quintanilla. Quintanilla was enjoying his best personal success a year ago when he was with the Mets, and then he was traded to the Orioles. They made it into postseason play. And that's the first base hit for the New York Mets against Westbrook today.
Once again, it's a ground ball. He just found a hole, but that's what he's trying to do. He struck out Brandon Hicks, and I'm sure Jake will tell you he didn't like that because he had to throw way too many pitches. And when you have a sinker baller up there, you're going to give up some base hits. But you always have the ability to throw one more pitch and get 2 outs.
That was the pitcher, Matt Harvey. Cedeno in on the grass down at third. He stabs at it. You saw a little frustration there from Harvey. They say that this guy is the ultimate competitor. You know, very aggressive when he's on the mound and inside games, but also at times too hard on himself. They've really been trying to work about trying to keep those emotions in check.
Dan Warden was saying that same thing to me, and was saying that sometimes he's over anxious, he's too amped up. And I said, Danny, you can always get somebody to come down, but if a guy doesn't have that fire in the belly, you can't start one. And you'd rather have somebody have the emotion than to have none.
And speaking of that, Chris Carpenter, we understand, is in camp today. He was saying hello to some of his teammates. Cardinals will miss him in so many ways this year. I mean, obviously what he means to the rotation, but all these young guys we talk about, there's a lot to be learned from just watching how Chris Carpenter goes about his business. Could be two. It's off the glove of Cedeno. Staying with it. Descalso out there. It's a double play. Not how you draw it up. 5, 6, 4 to 3. But they'll take it. MLB.com. You head to Cardinals.com and you'll pick up the at-bat feature. And you can follow the Cardinals on your phone. Just text at-bat to 31826 or visit Cardinals.com and get the latest info on your St. Louis Cardinals. 8, 9, and 1 in the lineup. The Cardinals still using the DH. It'll be Chambers, Cedeno, and then John Jay. Cardinals and Mets, spring training action here from Jupiter, Florida. Bottom of the third, and there's no score. You have to wonder at this point where Adrian Chambers is in his career. I know this was a big spring training for him and trying to make the club. He's been up and down with St. Louis in 2011. Again, last year he appeared in 41 games with the club, hit .222. Most of that season was spent at AAA. Cardinals have asked him to use his speed, utilize that as much as he can. Putting down bunts, put the ball on the ground. He's been trying to do that time and again here this spring. Puts it on the ground there, and that's a base hit.
That's a better way to use your speed. And that's probably his best asset. And what can separate him from others is, can he be a base stealing threat, go to first to third? Can he do different things as a bench player?
In steps a ninth place hitter, Ronnie Cedeno. Hitting .250 this spring. That's about what you get with Ronnie. He's a career .242 hitter in the big leagues. Last year with the Mets, he's seen time with Pittsburgh, Seattle. Started his big league career with the Chicago Cubs.
They come down to making a decision between a homegrown player or Cedeno. I would kind of side with the homegrown.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Cedeno hits it too short, could be two. Out at second. That's a double play, 6-4-3. Some guys, they come into camp and it's a chance to work on various parts of their game. For other guys, it's do or die in their careers or just trying to make the club.
Tough way to play when it's the do or die. You know, as a pitcher, you're on the mound, you're looking over your shoulder, checking that bullpen every second, or you feel like I've got to get 6 hits today. It's tough enough just to try and play relaxed and stay within yourself.
0-1 pitch to John Jay. Struck out swinging first time up. Maybe looking at the battery of the future here with the Mets. In Travis d'Arnaud, who is part of the R.A. Dickey deal. He's behind the plate. And then the highly touted prospect on the mound, and Matt Harvey. Slowly hit towards second, backhanded. And the Cardinals are through in their half of the third. Westbrook back to work. He'll get the top of the lineup for the Mets. Coming up, there's no score. Tonight, you're going to want to be there. Special night at Busch Stadium. It'll be the second series of the opening homestand for St. Louis. That Friday night dedicated to Stan the Man, the Musial Harmonica Night giveaway. And that's Friday, April 12th.
And Dan, I'm sure there'll be a lot of real musial tributes that weekend, and we give a chance for the fans one more time to say goodbye to the greatest Cardinal of them all.
Danny Valdespin pops it up. Cedeno, foul territory, makes the catch. Yeah, it's going to be a different opening day, not seeing Stan the Man. But still so many Hall of Famers. The great history of the Cardinals, he'll be there. Bob Gibson is not at spring training. He is missing his first spring in a number of years. He's recovering from knee surgery, but Bruce Sutter will be there. Ozzie Smith, Bob Gibson, Lou Brock.
Whitey, Red.
Yep.
Cardinals do opening day better than any other organization, and with the passing of Stan, it'll be just as magnificent. Well, I think there'll be a lot of special feelings from former teammates, Hall of Famers, the fans themselves.
Here's a 0-1 pitch to Ruben Tejada. Ground ball to second. Carpenter makes the play. 2 away. You would figure that this would be a good test to see some guys on the infield like a Descalso playing, I don't want to say out of position, but potentially being a backup. He's at short. You got Cedeno at third. Carpenter, always want to see him in game action now at second base.
Well, think about the play that Descalso turned on. Ball that eluded Cedeno, and they turned it into a double play. That was a real good test also for Carpenter at second. That runner bearing down on him, got to the ball and got rid of it very quickly to complete the double play.
There's Travis d'Arnaud. Mentioned earlier that he was traded for R.A. Dickey. That's the second Cy Young Award winner he's been traded for.
Yeah, Halladay.
Roy Halladay being the other. So it gives you an idea of just what baseball thinks. The scouts of d'Arnaud, rated last year as the 11th best prospect overall in all of baseball.
He tried to call time, and that was not granted by the umpire, but he ended up getting the ball thrown.
So 2 outs, nobody on, 1 ball and 1 strike.
I was a little surprised. I thought he'd be bigger, d'Arnaud. But everyone says he is legitimate offensive weapon, and he has no problem with mastering the tools of the trade.
It's interesting you say that because he grew up idolizing Mike Piazza and Russell Martin. I'd say he's got the body type of Russell Martin, not Mike Piazza. Grew up in Southern California. He was a infielder and then converted to a catcher. Picks up a 2-out base hit into right center.
I just like the way Taveras went after that ball in right center, and without looking at the runner, he just anticipated that he could be trying to stretch that to 2. Field the ball, came up firing, and throwing a strike to second base. Those are the little things that you also want to watch with a young outfielder who they're saying is gaining experience, learning those things. You know, where before, a couple years ago, all he thought was offense.
Here's Lucas Duda, and he is playing out of position. They need help in their lineup. Struggled offensively a year ago, so they've got to get his bat in there. He's trying to learn how to play left field.
I was going to say, let me ask you, where is his position? Because they found out he can't play right field. He's kind of a little bit below average first baseman, so the only place he can play is left.
And that would be, first base would be his natural position if there is one for him.
And Mike Davis there, so how do you keep both Davis and Duda in the lineup? But he really had a lot of trouble in right field.
He's a big guy, 6'4", 250 pounds. 7th round pick by the Mets a few years ago. He was their player of the year in their organization in 2010. And he's got pop. Lifts it out to left center. It's well hit, and this ball is gone. It's a home run opposite field. Gives you an idea of the power of Lucas Duda, his 3rd home run this spring. RBI 6 and 7. And the Mets jump out on top 2-0. Wind is blowing towards left field today. First time we've seen that in a number of days here in Jupiter.
Let's just say it's blowing out. And most left-handers are low ball hitters, but in the middle of the plate, maybe stayed up a little bit. It was around thigh high, and you get it up in the wind, and those outfielders would just look at it go over the fence.
Here's Zach Lutz. 2 outs, nobody on, and a 2-run lead for the Mets. Now, he is a natural third baseman that can play first as well, but he's blocked by David Wright, who did sign long-term deal in the offseason, 8-year extension. Ike Davis at first, so Lutz is also playing a little left field.
And R.A. Dickey, last year's National League Cy Young Award winner. They couldn't get together on a contract, so he was dealt.
Rounder hit to short, knocked down by Descalso, and got him. Just in time. Lucas Duda, tremendous power, the former USC Trojan pitcher, now trying to convert to an outfielder in the big leagues. Takes Westbrook deep, his 3rd home run. Mets on top. With a 2-run homer, Mets on top. That's Yadier Molina. Looking at his Gold Glove, the Platinum Gold Glove. He gives it a thumbs up. You'll be receiving that on a Sunday. That's April 14th. The first 25,000 fans into the ballpark will take home that collectible Gold and Platinum Gold Glove Award presented by Rawlings. That's April 14th. And a breaking ball to Matt Carpenter.
Everybody's heard of the Gold Glove, but then last season they had the Platinum Gold Glove winner, the best of the Gold Glove winners.
Well, they've done it 2 years.
And Yadi has won it both years. He owns that. And so that clever little way of having half gold and half platinum on the catcher's glove of Yadier Molina. Really nice item.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Fought off by Carpenter. He singled to right first time up. It's Carpenter, Holiday, and Matt Adams for a St. Louis offense that is being shut out again.
Up to 25 innings in this current scoreless streak.
Little chopper hit to second base, handled by Omar Quintanilla. Well, both pitchers working quickly and putting their defense to work. And you know you're going to get that with Jake Westbrook when he's on the mound. Awful lot of ground balls. And same can be said on the other side. This is that nifty double play in the turn there by Carpenter. Here's Matt Holliday. He flied out to left. I don't know about you. I like what I see out of Matt Harvey.
Unfortunately, we thought we were going to see this type of performance. He is going to be one of their big guns.
They also have a young right-hander, one of their top prospects, Zach Wheeler, who was picked up in the Carlos Beltran deal of a couple of years ago from San Francisco.
Got another prospect, right-hander, Snyder guard, who they got in the R.A. Dickey deal. But the problem is, Francisco, their closer, is not healthy. He's out. Santana, who the Cardinals saw him throw a no-hitter against them last year.
That's ripped out to left center field. That ball will get down. Extra bases for Matt Holliday. Trots in with a stand-up double. And 1 for 2 on the afternoon.
You remember the Santana no-hitter? We did that game. As you see this pitch, and Matt puts a nice level swing on it, plugs a gap out in left center.
Never was the same after that game.
Yeah, I was going to say, he threw 134 pitches, a career high, and after that he was like 3-7, had an ERA over 8, and now he is throwing at 75 feet on flat ground right now.
Jonathan Neese, another left-hander, is scheduled to be potentially their opening day starter.
Well, I don't think if you're throwing 75 feet, and Terry Collins said that, he said they have a progression that they use with their pitchers. He won't get on the mound until he can throw it 150 feet on flat ground.
So what you're telling me is don't count on Johan.
No.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Matt Adams. Adams goes the other way. Base hit. Cardinals get on the board. Holiday will score. The big man is chugging for 2. On his way to second and in there safely. RBI double for Adams. And now he has driven in 12 this spring. Good to see him go the other way.
Dan, that is absolutely the best thing you could say right there. We know he has tremendous power. You know he can pull the ball and head it out of the ballpark. But at the big league level, if they pitch you away, you pull it, you're going to pull a little ground ball, roll over on it. If you take it the other way, you can do what he just did. Drive in a runner at second base, get an RBI, cut the lead in half, and you make the team.
He's at second. Here's Oscar Taveras. Lined out to short, first time up. Just a screamer off his bat.
I saw him take 2 at-bats last spring. Struck out both times, but I was impressed and remembered the authority that he swung the bat with.
That's up the middle. Base hit. Adams being waved in. The throw from center is cut off, and Taveras touches the bag at second on his way to third. They're going to wave him in. Taveras to the plate. He is blocked at the plate and out. Darno, a tremendous play in blocking the plate. That's 2 of the top prospects in baseball with a collision at home. You hope that nobody gets hurt.
Well, Dan, there's been talk again this year about outlawing, plays at the plate. But your competitor, and all of a sudden, you're going to get a lot of guys hurt. Here they had him dead to rights at second base, but they throw the ball away. Oquendo waves him home, and Darno does a great job of blocking the play. Got the ball up in front. The last second, he slides his left leg into the base paths and sealed off home.
Let's give Darno a lot of credit in blocking the plate, and I bring it up because he's a guy that has been dealing with injuries in his young career. And one of those injuries was that he tore up his left knee last year, and that cut his season short. Had to have surgery. And at the beginning of spring training, he wasn't even 100%. And here he is blocking the plate and trying to make the club. 2 years prior to that, he had a bulging disc in his back. You know about that.
Yeah. But too, Dan, though, here he does it the right way. See that left leg? He gives him a lane until he's got the ball, and then the left leg goes right into the base paths. Got those catching gear, seals off the plate, and Taveras will tell you it's not fun to slide into a shin guard.
Up and into Descalso.
If you outlaw some of those blocks at home plate, you're going to get some guys hurt. The runner, is going to be indecisive whether he slides, stands up. There'll be a time where, the catchers are going to get hurt because they aren't expecting somebody to hit them.
And Daniel waves at it and strikes out. The Cardinals, though, have tied it up at 2. RBI. Taveras stays in the ball game. Good to see that. His training staff worked on his leg after that collision at the plate. Bunt attempt, and it's pushed foul. Matt Dendecker. I wonder if John Mozeliak or Mike Matheny will say to Jose Oquendo after the game, you know what? Love to see the aggressive play, but I don't mind you doing it with a guy at single A. I'm not sure I want to do it with Oscar Taveras.
I understand that, but in order to be a good third base coach, on occasion you have to get guys thrown out at the plate. Even at the major league level, you expect people to make mistakes, make errors. It was a bang-bang play, and this time the Mets came out on top. But Oquendo, in my mind, has done a phenomenal job at third base coach over the years.
And with the influx of guys that come from the Dominican and Mexico, some of the places in which they speak Spanish, he is an integral part of trying to teach young kids how to play the game like Oscar Taveras. Real issue for Terry Collins with Dendecker, the hitter at the plate, is that they want to see him make more contact. Last year he got promoted to AAA. He struck out 154 times. At AA he hit 340. AAA was a different story.
Well, just the reference to Jim Edmonds as an outfielder, you have to keep this kid and have a very favorable impression. But it's the old story. You got to hit your way onto the base paths.
Count runs full. We play here in the fifth. You're watching spring training action live on Fox Sports Midwest. Not a replay, Al. We are live down here in Jupiter, Florida. Many more games to come here on Fox Sports Midwest in our expanded coverage this spring.
For a fourth of 10?
Yes, sir. Descalso charges. One away. So again, if you're just joining us, this play at the plate moments ago.
Well, ball gets away, and Taveras recognized it right away, and scrambled to his feet. It was going to be a bang-bang play right there. They answered it. And a lot of times the base runner, everybody's worried about the catcher, but a lot of times the base runner is the ones that comes up limping after crashing into the shin guards.
Seen many a broken ankle like that. No give by the big catcher, and you slide into that gear. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Hicks, and make it strike two. Hicks at third today. David Wright is out, and they anticipate it being a very touch-and-go situation to see him ready and available by opening day.
Terry Collins told me that, David Wright's thinking, well, it's only going to be 3 to 5 days. But, really when you have an oblique muscle strain, it just seems like it's always an automatic 3 weeks. And the problem is you try and come back too soon, then if you aggravate it, you're back to square one.
A strikeout there by Westbrook is number 3. Here's Omar Quintanilla. Anytime I see Omar Quintanilla, I think of Rick Ankiel and a famous night in Denver. With those throws to third base. It was Quintanilla that had hit the ball in the gap both times.
Really?
And
didn't remember that.
Yep. Ankiel is trying to catch on with Houston.
Aaron, you and I both thought that he may entertain thoughts of coming back to the mound, but he said no. If I can't make it as the outfielder, I don't make it.
Well, the 1st and 15th, the summer months when those checks don't come, to grab a baseball and start long tossing. And everybody in baseball would be willing to say, Rick, we'd love to give you a chance.
I mean, if you thought about it, it'd be hard for an organization not to say, well, I'll give you another 3 or 4 years.
Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Here's a 2-2. Here's a ground ball. Carpenter near the outfield grass, and he makes the play to his left. A 1-2-3 inning for Jake Westbrook. It's Cruz, Chambers, Cedeno coming up. We're tied up at 2. First homestand, the adult replica alternate jersey. It's presented by Lumiere. You see it pictured there, bottom left portion of your screen. Cardinals will wear those uniforms that Saturday night, and you have a chance to take one home. Saturday, April 13th, it's the Cards and Brewers at Busch Stadium.
It's a good-looking jersey, and I've seen already a lot of Cardinal fans supporting and wearing that replica jersey. But you can have the giveaway at Busch Stadium.
It's Tony Cruz, Adrian Chambers, Ronnie Cedeno, along with the Mad Hungarian, Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin.
April, the best month for promotions?
It's right there with them, especially early on. They've got the replica ring of 2006 that is wearable after last year giving away the one from 2011. They went back and said, you know what, we might want to make one that they can wear from 2006. So they've got that.
Dan, did you know, the Post-Dispatch store was selling the case with all 11 World Championship rings.
Very nice.
Have you ever seen that?
I have one.
I have 3 because I bought one and was so impressed with it. I bought 2 more to give away as gifts.
Very nice. Here's Adrian Chambers. And a strike. The Mets, it's been a lot of promise, but nothing has panned out for some of their top draft choices in recent memory. Paul Wilson, Scott Kazmir, remember he was part of the Mets for a while. Even Mike Pelfrey was considered one of the up-and-coming stars for the Mets a few years back. And now you have Zach Wheeler and this young right-hander, Matt Harvey. Chambers strikes out, ball gets away. Throw to first, nice pick.
That really was.
Five strikeouts for Matt Harvey. Boy, nice play by Lutz down at first.
Yeah, Lutz throws it right into the base paths as Chambers running down here. It's a low throw, and then right at the feet, I think he almost put down a blind stab and just hoped that's where the ball would end up. But Lutz did make a nice play.
So 2 outs, nobody on for Ronnie Cedeno. Cedeno was a little tardy in getting to camp. Some visa issues, and the Cardinals still do not have an appearance by Carlos Martinez. Speaking of highly touted prospects,
Mike Covage, former major leaguer who works for Tampa Bay, asked me in the lunchroom if Martinez was here. He goes, I haven't seen him, and I informed him about the problems, but he said
under the glove of Tejada. We'll see if they ruled out a base hit. I would imagine they would for Cedeno.
Yeah, but Covage said last season in the minor leagues, the pitcher that he saw the most movement from was Martinez. Now they're one of the outstanding arms the Cardinals have in their farm system.
It's probably put him back a little bit when you have John Mozeliak here and the entire minor league staff together. Some of the major league guys will not see him until next spring.
That's it. I mean, he was going to get a decent look here at the major league level and just throw it out all the way. They know who he is, but you don't get to see it firsthand.
Back to the top of the lineup in John Jay. He's 0 for 2. He struck out and also grounded out to second. And we've talked about with Shelby Miller in the minor leagues, they had to tell him to throw breaking balls, and it's the other way around for Carlos Martinez, making him throw his fastball more. And he throws upper 90s. Seen that sharp breaking ball a couple of times here from Harvey.
This doesn't look like some of the Cardinal hitters have picked it up well, as they've had funny swings at it. Averaged over 10 strikeouts per 9 innings at the major league level last season. Did Harvey.
And looking for number 6 right now, and Jay shoots it out of play.
He has a 2 and the 4-seam fastball along with the curveball, slider, and a good changeup. But he also does a good job of changing the eye level of a hitter.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Evens it up at 2-2. Wonder if we'll attach Gold Glove at some point to the resume of John Jay. Gets a chance to play 140, 150 games and see how he fares.
I think you and I both thought he would have higher rating.
He strikes out for the second time. He's 0 for 3 this afternoon. We have played 5 here at Roger Dean Stadium. Spring Training 2013. Glad you're with us. We're tied up 2-2. Make sure you join us tomorrow for spring training action. The Marlins and the Cardinals will come your way at noon right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Justin Christian takes over in center field for St. Louis. So John Jay's day is through. And a lefty getting loose in the pen for St. Louis. Extend Harvey here. He's the pitcher. Record for the Mets. At the plate, 0-2.
There's Sipchinski. Apparently his eye is feeling much better.
Scoreless inning the other day, and for those that didn't hear about it, Sipchinski was playing golf, was near a tree, hit a shot, and took a shot to the eye. He wasn't sure exactly what hit him, but he had blindness in his left eye. Was swollen, looked like a black eye, and had it checked out. Blurriness is gone, and he's back in pitching. Top of the lineup, Jordany Valdespin. He started 5 different positions last year as a rookie for the Mets. Natural second baseman, but can play the outfield, and they're still unsure about Daniel Murphy, their everyday second baseman, if he's going to be available on opening day. That's when you're tied up right there.
Well, but you see, the way he swings, he has a lot of movement. The head is movement, body movement, moving parts is delivery, so he will lock himself up. I always talk about keeping the head still.
Here's a ground ball off of Adams, and that'll be an error on the big man.
Come on, Ruben, let's go. Come on, I got it. Come on, Ruben.
Spino, you see the side of the ball there, cutting action. They're coming in on him, and He's thinking that ball's going to be out over the plate, and then he's trying to swing at it and get out of the way of the ball. That's kind of how Verlander got him, right? Pitch like that.
You bet. You would have to think that this is a Mets lineup. Could be susceptible to a lot of lefties. They struggled last year against them, but they've got Duda, Davis, Valdespin hits from the left side. Daniel Murphy is another one, so those lefties, they're going to see a lot of them. Teams will configure their rotation to have starts against New York.
Cardinals did a pretty good job when they faced left-handed starters last season, but I'm sure we're going to see a lot of teams load up, pitch left-handers against the Cardinals.
We saw the Mets at Citi Field. They were riding high. At that point in time of the season, Mets were in contention and really the talk of the National League at that point. Cardinals were no hit by Johan Santana. R.A. Dickey was fabulous in his start against St. Louis, and that was one of those stretches in which the bats went really cold.
Well, it's something the Cardinals are hoping to have a little more balanced attack. Many times where they would score double figures, but then the next 3 or 4 days they were held to 1 or less.
Descalso backhands out there. The turn by Carpenter. How about that? It's another double play with that combination. 6-4-3. Matt Carpenter, no problem on the turn. He's due up first when we come back. Midway through 6 here at Roger Dean Stadium. We're tied up at 2. The experiment? Not any longer. He can play the position. Starting that double play, remember StubHub, the place to go to get the seats you want. Great values this year at StubHub.com. No activity for the Cardinals in their pen. A lefty is up throwing for the Mets. Also, Andrew Brown is taken over in left field for New York. Bottom of 6, it's Carpenter, Holiday, and Matt Adams. Frank Viola, former lefty for both New York and Boston Red Sox, now working as a pitching coach in the minor leagues for New York, was saying that watching Harvey reminds him, this is high praise, of Roger Clemens. He said not necessarily stuff-wise, although both threw hard at this age, but the way he is so aggressive, how he conducts himself. They'll get a chance to see him every 5th day this year. He's part of their rotation in the big leagues.
Clemens, huh?
That's what he said. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Carpenter, who is 1 for 2.
I saw Roger worked a game for Sports Time, Roger Clemens' debut against Cleveland, if memory serves me right. He pitched very well, but his defense just really let him down. But you could tell there was something special.
Misses on the inside corner. It's a leadoff walk to Carpenter, on base for the 2nd time.
What helps Carpenter also is that good batting eye. There's an example of it there.
Be interesting to see if John Jay is indeed your leadoff man, which we all assume he will be. If Mike Matheny wants to stagger a couple lefties back-to-back, you do have a switch hitter in Beltran, but Carpenter has been hitting in the 2nd spot. One of the things that he did last year, though, very well, we saw him hang tough against those lefties.
You can see, as I said right now, the Cardinals started this game with 6 left-handers in their lineup, left-handed hitters.
Assume that Zipchinski is coming in. He'll pitch the 7th as he continues to throw, and it's 0-2 on Holiday.
And I think we're all exceptional effort by Westbrook. He's really made the one bad mistake, the 2-run home run for the base hit preceding it. And he only allowed 3 hits and was outstanding in his 6 innings of work.
Rotation that has Matt Harvey, Jonathan Neese. A very good final 4 months of last year. He went 13-9 on the season. He's had a terrific spring. Dylan G is part of that rotation. Uncertainty of Johan Santana. You would have to believe that Jeremy Hefner would be part of their rotation, and still unsettled for a 5th man. You talked about their bullpen. Frankie Francisco, he's 33, coming off elbow surgery. They had the 2nd worst ERA collectively a year ago. It's popped up, shallow left. Andrew Brown makes the catch.
From a Cardinal farmhand, got a little taste of the big leagues, Andrew Brown.
Brown was the one that collided with Shane Robinson.
Yes.
When he had the injury that shattered a cheekbone, and Terry Collins will make the move, and that'll be it for Matt Harvey. Very good outing. Tell you about the changes when we come back. We're tied up at 2. Jake Westbrook out of the game and signing autographs down the right field line near the Cardinals bullpen. Very solid outing for Jake.
A lot easier to sign after you pitch as well as he did today. This is Josh Edgens. Making his 8th appearance. He pitched last season at AA, AAA, and the big league level for the Mets.
We'll see some lefties now with Matt Adams, Oscar Taveras, and Daniel Descalso due up. Runner at first is Matt Carpenter with 1 out.
Little breaking ball right there. That got to look at him. Didn't seem like it was too much to handle. Another breaking ball off the plate. That's where it's important for Adams to show what he did his last time up when he hit that double, taking the ball and hitting it the other way.
One ball and 1 strike on Adams. Matt is grounded out to second, and the aforementioned double. It was back in the 4th. There's a fastball. Just missed outside.
3 breaking balls, and then, as you said, a fastball trying to paint it away.
Mike Matheny doesn't like this guy. He hails from Ohio State. Mike's a Michigan man. There's a curveball he hung at that time, and it's pulled foul.
Adams was ready for it. What you mean by hanging it, you just left it on the inner third of the plate. Throw that ball, you want it away from the hitter.
Edgen made his debut a year ago. They did that against the Braves on July 13th. Stays away from that breaking ball, and the count is worked full.
6'1", 225, Pennsylvania.
Could be 2, it is. He lines into a double play. Hard hit, but into the glove of Omar Quintanilla. Zipchinski takes over when we come back. Sports Midwest is brought to you by Chevy. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer today. By Bud Light Platinum, triple filtered, smooth finish, top shelf taste. By Bomarito, where price sells cars. and by Plaza Tire, the quick change artist.
Matt Holliday down the right field line, signing some autographs. John Jay as well. And Mark Zepchinski will take over, the 27-year-old who appeared in 70 ball games a year ago. He's done that for the second consecutive season, 70 or more games that he's appeared in. And the first pitch is a strike underway here in the top of the 7th. Travis d'Arnaud, the highly touted backstop now of the New York Mets.
Waiting for that gate to be closed. John Jay is taking that leadership role, just as you said. Taking charge of that gate.
Think about the young catching in the National League. Molina, not an old guy, but a veteran. San Francisco and Buster Posey. Well, d'Arnaud is 24 and still has not made it to the big leagues. I think the Mets are a little concerned about his injuries from the past, and they should be. We talked about the knee injury, but the 2 bulging discs in his back for a catcher.
It doesn't sound good, does it?
Nope. One ball and 2 strikes.
Everybody says he will be a major leaguer and should be a good one, but I don't know. Will he get enough playing time with the veteran John Buck there?
Acquired Buck in the offseason, be the primary catcher from the Marlins. But John Buck only hit 192 a year ago, so figure there could be a spot there if he can hit himself onto the lineup.
But everybody does feel that the Mets are going to be stronger defensively with Buck back behind the plate.
Josh Tolle, a year ago, a local product. There's a fly ball out to deep right. Taveras won't get it. It's over his head. Cuts it off at the track. Fires it back into the infield. Leadoff double for Travis d'Arnaud.
All down and away. Slices it into right center. Comes up with an extra base hit. So Zepchinski under the gun right here.
Instead of seeing Lucas Duda, you have Andrew Brown. Nobody throwing in the Cardinals' pen, so they want to see Zepchinski get some work. He's trying to play a little catch-up because of the eye injury and get some more innings before we break camp.
Everyone kind of naturally assumes that Zepchinski is going to be one of the 2 lefties in the bullpen, but he was the key piece in that trade 2 years ago coming from Toronto, but I think he had a very disappointing year last year, and I think they want to see more from him. Randy Schote, I think, is going to be a tremendous addition to the club, the left-handed specialist.
Be interesting to see how they use Zepchinski. He at times was the lone lefty out there in the bullpen, where Schote is, as you talked about, your lefty specialist. And 2 years ago when Zepchinski was right, Cardinals felt very comfortable keeping him in against right-handers too.
Right, and by having a second left-hander and a true left-handed specialist, you can move Zepchinski and pitch him in times where maybe he'll pitch an inning or 2, where Schote is only going to face left-handed batters.
1-2 the count on Brown. Zach Lutz is on deck. We're tied up. It's 2-2. 7th inning, the Cards and Mets here on Fox Sports Midwest. Chopper up the middle and a base hit. This is Christian. Fires to the plate. It's not in time. The Mets have the lead 3-2. Andrew Brown with the RBI.
Brown, he didn't hit the ball particularly hard, but well placed. Bounced over the middle of the mound and on through. Garneau will break the tie and give the Mets their lead.
Lutz has grounded out to third, grounded out to short. A fastball and a strike at 90 miles an hour from Mark Zebchinski. Cardinals have turned a pair of double plays.
Neither one was routine. First one, your typical 5-6-4-3. And the other one, remember, Descalzo was almost had his back to home plate, getting a ball that was to his right and then getting it to Carpenter. Was it right at him?
0-2 pitch from Mark Zebchinski. In the dirt, blocked by Tony Cruz. Extremely important start tomorrow for both. When I say start, it'll be officially a start for Shelby Miller with Joe Kelly piggybacking on that. But for both those guys tomorrow, very, very important.
Really get a good idea of watching them back to back, both competing for that fifth spot in the rotation. Maybe the last time you can do that, Dan, because
I would think so
want
for
to start
sure.
stretching guys out and want to try and stretch them beyond the starter, beyond 5 innings.
Cardinals have an off day on Wednesday. The final off day down here in Florida. 1 ball and 2 strikes. It's been a very long spring training because of the World Baseball Classic.
And the Cardinals open on the road.
Arizona, then San Francisco, and opening day against the Reds at home. And that Giants series will be a celebration of their championship.
Now, is the Giants opening 3 games on the road?
I believe so.
Yeah, because we keep on hearing that they're going to give out the World Series rings. Cardinals had to do that in 2011. Worked out pretty good for them. Here's a little extra incentive.
A liner into right field and a base hit. Taveras, let's see his arm. On to third. Wow. What a gun. Oscar Taveras from right field.
Well, you almost forget about the base running, defense, throwing arm of Taveras because we've heard so much about his bat. But throws that ball. He's got something on it. It was on the line. A 1 hop over to third. And the first out recorded is Taveras throwing out a base runner for Zebchinski. 3 consecutive hits.
Matt Dendecker, also noted for his glove, is at the plate. Runner at first. Showing bunt, takes a ball. Well, spring training, you see the autographs being signed down to the bullpen, but also some of the bullpenners will try to get some running in. That's what we have right now up at the warning track. One of the pitchers, very well could be Matt Harvey, throwing right now and running.
Should be.
It's in the field of play down the right field line. Adams, who's committed 1 error today, stays with it, and they get the runner at first. Would have been tough to turn 2. Then Decker can run, but it does put Lutz in scoring position.
And we're seeing Adams right here. He's made a couple misplays, 1 error. This one gets away with it because he gets an out at first base, but he is much better than that. Here's once again, the guy getting thrown out at third base. See if they try to deke him over there. I had plenty of time, just waited for him to slide into the tag. And here, pitcher's PFP, pitcher's fielding practice. Ball hit to the right side. Zemchinski gets over there, and he got an out because of it.
Brandon Hicks, runner at second. Mets with a lead of 3-2. Hicks has struck out twice today. Outfield is shallow, big gap in right center. 2 balls and no strikes. Cardinals will have Oscar Taveras coming up, Daniel Descalso, and the catcher today, Tony Cruz. Home half of the 7th. Three 3-0, and with Zemchinski trying to get that final out, falling behind 3-0, the Cardinals get somebody up to start to throw. Three and one.
That right-hander in the bullpen is Seth Maness. He was the Cardinals minor league pitcher of the year. That Double-A, part of that Texas League championship team, and excellent command and control.
Count is full. It's 3-2. Got him. Fell behind 3-0 and comes back to strike him out. Tough day for Hicks. Struck out 3 times. Time to stretch. Schnook's a difference maker today. Outstanding start from right-hander Jake Westbrook.
Arguably just one mistake today. That was the 2-run home run by Lucas Duda. But Jake was getting his ground balls, mixed in about 4 strikeouts, and was a very positive and impressive outing.
Long-time pitcher in the big leagues, LaTroy Hawkins. Fans enjoying the sunshine, about 80 degrees today in Jupiter.
Giant fans here in Jupiter.
Tavares has lined out, so reached with a double back in the 4th. On a misplay, tried to score, and was thrown out at home plate. The well-traveled LaTroy Hawkins. Been a closer in his career, starter at one point, middle relief, setup man.
Still throws nice and easy.
And here's one of those players that you're talking about before. Yep, getting a chance to make a team here with the Mets.
They have 4 or 5 different guys that will probably make the team but are non-rosters. So they'll have to take prospects off the 40-man roster to create space. And their farm system is not that deep.
Hard hit again, and this time to third. Tavares mined out earlier, and this time hits it on the button right at the third baseman.
Well, we always talk about his offense, but starting to see right now that he can play a little defense. Won't hurt you. They say he can play all 3 outfield positions. He's probably going to get bigger and bigger and probably stay in right and or left field. But they're a nice, strong throw. Ball jumps off his bat, and for a guy who swings as hard as he does, it's very much under control because he hits for such a high average. Last year, 321 at Double-A.
What a diving stop here, and offline with the throw. Descalso reaches with a base hit. Omar Quintanilla, what a play just to make that close.
Sure was. Nice play there, and what we also want to give credit to is Duda at the other end. Knew that it was not going to be close at first base, so vacate the bag and make sure you don't put that runner on second base with an errant throw. Great effort. See there, he gets away from the bag, make sure he corrals that ball, and you don't want to put the guy in scoring position with just 1 out.
It's Tony Cruz, tying run at first. Play here in the home half of the 7th at Roger Dean Stadium. Cruz with a fly ball into shallow right center field. 2 outs.
You know, go back to the base hit by Descalso. So many times the first baseman tries to make the stretch, and the ball gets away from him, and you put the guy on at second base. So Duda does the right thing. Come off the bag, make sure you stop that ball. The guy's going to be safe. Lutz, the first baseman.
Adrian Chambers, a single, and he has struck out. Cardinals have out-hit the Mets 7-6, but trailed by a run. Both starters very effective.
Love to see right here with such a tall runner or tall pitcher. Usually can get a good jump. See if Descalso can feel comfortable trying to steal a bag.
Edward Mujica begins to throw in the Cardinal bullpen.
Mujica's given up a couple spring training runs, so we finally know he can give up a run. He was that good, and after the Cardinals acquired him from the Marlins at the trade deadline.
It really did have a ripple effect on the rest of the bullpen, too.
It did. It just solidified And once he secured the 7th inning, Boggs the 8th, Mott the 9th, and Mike Matheny just was on push-button control.
1-2 the count on Chambers, and he looks at a called third strike. Cardinals strand a runner. They have stranded 2 on the day. They trail 3-2. And the man, the usual harmonica is coming up when we open up our first homestand of the season at Busch Stadium. That'll be Friday night, April 12th. So if you're thinking about coming in from out of town, that weekend series, perfect time to do it. We've got the harmonica. We also have the replica jersey giveaway on Saturday. And then Yachty, that giveaway with his gold and platinum glove.
Yeah, those harmonicas were one of the favorites of Stan. He used to carry those around. He gave me one of those years ago. It's got a signature on it. And what I think is nice is it's also in a nice little wooden box to keep it secure. Mahika appearing for the 8th time. High ERA, but that was earlier in camp where he wanted to experiment with runners on base. My theory of getting your work in. But we saw him over the weekend, and he was very good. Get back to what we expect to see from him.
And he was experimenting a little bit more with some of the different pitchers in his arsenal, but we know that he has a terrific split finger pitch. It's one of the best in baseball.
Just had it right there, swing and a miss. Really didn't think much of the trade when it was made at the deadline, but as it turned out, that was one of the second year in a row. John Mozeliak made a deal to refine the bullpen, and it paid big dividends.
Wonder what Bruce Sutter thinks when he watches somebody else throw the split finger pitch. Bruce is here. He's in a uniform down by Mike Matheny.
Bruce was a conventional pitcher, meaning he had all 4 pitches, but then he hurt his arm. And that's when he was taught the split finger. The difference, a lot of guys today that throw it still have good arms and can still throw fastballs in the 90s. Bruce Sutter, that was basically it. You know, was that split finger, and he couldn't throw it very hard. It looked like it was a beach ball coming up there. I'd ask hitters, I said, what is it? Because it just seems like it's sitting there, and they said, exactly. Sitting right on a tee, you start your swing, and then the bottom fell out of it, and you just couldn't hit it.
Bruce does have a tie with the current Cardinals pitching coach, Derek Lilliquist. Derek was telling me that he had just been drafted and was in his first year of pro ball and was teammates with Bruce. spring training together, and those two have forged a relationship.
And Bruce signed the big free agent contract with the Atlanta Braves and promptly got hurt and really never recovered. But what a great competitor, just a funny guy, and just good to have him around and his presence with the ball club.
Here's a 1-2. He's gotten very close with the current closer, Jason Mott. Those two are very good friends, speak quite often during the offseason.
One beard's dark, the other one's white.
Both have closed out World Series.
Both of them talk country.
3-2. It's a fun weekend. We had the 1982 team in last year to celebrate that team, and Bruce was part of a panel we had with Ozzie and Whitey, Ken Obergefell, Jim Cott. Great storytellers.
Bruce left the Cardinals, and Whitey said, I got 45 games dumber. Bruce has said 45 games for him the previous year. But as usual, Whitey didn't panic, came up with the closer by committee, and took a while, but late August, there was a guy named Todd Worrell. He came to the big leagues and was kind of a bust as a #1 draft choice as a starter, but boy, he found a niche as a closer.
So a leadoff walk, and now it's Anthony Recker. It's a backup catcher. It's a home run, 3 RBIs, batting .471 this spring. Valdespin is on deck. Cardinals have turned a pair of double plays today. One 1-0 pitch.
Recker, who Mahika is facing right here, pitched both for the Oakland and for the Cubs last season. 129 for Oakland, 167 average for the Cubbies.
Cardinals still have their regular catcher in. It started this game. That's Tony Cruz, same infield. And same right fielder. A little late with that swing. Stays alive, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Spring training much longer because of the World Baseball Classic, and about this time you start hearing from the players saying, boy, I just can't wait to get north. In our case, go west. These games start counting for real.
You really do go through about 4 different phases. You show up in spring training and you're really looking forward to the games starting. And about this week, you know, you're just bored to death down here. Next week, you start looking forward to the regular season. But you really just have to keep on pushing yourself.
Top of the lineup, Jordani Valdespin. Reached on an air back in the 6th. It's also grounded out and popped out. A fastball at 92. Mix in that split finger with a low to mid-90s fastball. Mahika's got some pretty good stuff. Think about some of the arms the Cardinals have from the right side of their pin, the way that it's set up, and it is some hard throwers. Runner goes, and it's fouled back. 0-2. Starts with your closer, Jason Mott. We saw him hit 100 the other day, and then Boggs is throwing mid to high 90s. Mahika here. You've got Rosenthal, who's such a weapon.
Remember Kelly, when he'd come out of the bullpen, he'd be 96, 97. Never seen as many hard throwers in the Cardinal organization. And it speaks very well for not only this year, but for the future.
Popped up left side. Cedeno giving chase, but it's Chambers who makes the catch.
Good to see those infielders going back on a ball because of the wind can play tricks here.
Cardinals earlier today, that's all they did. They had the regulars out, backups out, and working on those types of pop-ups. They were just shooting them out of the machine and having fly balls that were landing in that no man's land, and who takes charge.
There'll be some sloppy play during the season, and somebody will say, oh, they need to practice on that. They practice almost on a daily basis on one drill or another, the fundamentals. They get to work in.
Ruben Tejada. He's fly to right. He's grounded out and bounced into a double play. 2 outs, runner at first. For the managers, I would assume some of them like having a longer camp because, you know, you feel that you've covered all the bases, so to speak. But then at the other side of that, you're trying to keep guys fresh too. Fly ball into right, and Taveras makes the catch. Midway through 8, scoreless frame by Edward Mejica. Midwest is brought to you by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. And by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Fun time of year. Spring training. Every club, I would say for the most part, Al, feels they've got a shot. And then reality hits in early April.
Some have better shots than others. Some might have a pretty solid team, but just don't have the depth. And injuries are always a part of it.
This is Atchison, right-hander into the game. 3-2 Mets. Scott Atchison, 7th appearance. 0-2 quickly on Ronnie Cedeno. Justin Christian is on deck, and then Matt Carpenter. Jason Mott throwing in the Cardinals' pen. On an 0-2 pitch, he delivers with a base hit into center. 2-hit day for Ronnie Cedeno. Tying run at first, and now Justin Christian. Very good story. Justin Christian began his pro career with the River City Rascals, independent Frontier League. That was back in 2003. Also played collegiately at Southeast Missouri State.
Already has a game-winning hit this spring.
Showing bunt, and we saw that earlier with Valdespine. Ball that came up and hit him in the face, and that one caught Christian for strike one.
Well, we've seen a lot of balls that hit out in front of the plate and then take high hops. So they need to soften that up a little bit. As you said, twice a bunted ball hits in front of the plate and comes up and hits one of the batters.
A 1 pitch. Gets the bunt down perfectly. Christian, by the way, will receive a World Series ring. He was part of San Francisco's squad a year ago. Only appeared in 34 games. He hit 125, but if you make an appearance and part of that championship run, you will get a ring. That could be said for Matt Carpenter a couple of years ago. Briefly appeared in the big leagues. That's when he picked up his first ever major league hit. That was against Kerry Wood. And because he made an appearance that season, Matt Carpenter got a World Series ring.
And you think of some of the great players that played long time at the major league level and never got a sniff, never got to the postseason or got a ring.
How far did you get?
In playoffs a couple times, but you know, the Yankees did us in.
That time you were with Kansas City.
One time with Atlanta, and team named St. Louis beat us. 82. Only because Negro got rained out.
That's your story. You're sticking to it. 1 ball, 1 strike on Matt Carpenter. A walk and a single today. Tying run at second base.
Think about Ernie Banks. You know, Joe Torre had a tremendous career, but MVP, but never got the World Series until he started managing. Then he started running out of fingers.
I was going to say, then he made up for it.
Yeah.
And then some.
You know, speaking of Joe Torre, who would manage the U.S. team, Joe Torre told Terry Collins, he couldn't believe how many people turned him down for the baseball classic.
1-2 pitch.
And it's kind of a catch-22. You know, most players don't, most teams really don't want their players to go because they're out of their control.
The agents sure do, though.
Well, and he said something to me because since David Wright got hurt at the World Baseball Classic, they have to pay, they get reimbursed for a player's salary if he's in the regular season until he comes back off the EL.
So Major League Baseball reimburses the club. Major League Baseball has sunk millions into the World Baseball Classic. But just think about the travel alone. The insurance on the players.
A lot of, last thing you want to do is get somebody hurt, but now you're going to have maybe a situation. Mitchell Boggs was really honored to be asked by Joe Torre to be on the American team, but then you're gone for a couple weeks and you only throw an inning and a third. Next time you may not want to go.
Colton Wong will be the pinch hitter. Wong had a triple in the game yesterday against Miami. Tying run at second. Go-ahead run is at first. Adams is on deck. And only 1 out. First pitch. Pops it up. Up to Matt Adams. No activity in the bullpen for New York.
Sure. Wong is disappointed with himself, but tough job as a pinch hitter. You really, only time you'd be criticized is if you don't swing.
Adams takes a ball low. Matt today has grounded out to second. A double, RBI, run scored in the fourth. He lined into a double play in the sixth.
And this is the game inside the game. Matt Adams has a chance to make this club and most likely be a pinch hitter. So you try to visualize that this is your role.
You have to envision in a regular season game, there's no way he would face a right-handed pitcher in this spot. But Terry Collins has to find out about his guys too.
Absolutely. There are times when managers really hope things go a little bit astray so you can kind of have a situation and learn about a player.
Adams chops it to the right side, but foul. 2-2. Cardinals actually were purposely putting Michael Wacha in tough spots coming out of the pen to see how he could handle that before he was sent to the minor leagues, and he passed with flying colors.
Sometimes your manager overexposes a young player hoping that they will fail, so he'll have some justification to send them down.
2-2. Adams hits it the other way. This is slicing, and it is caught on the run. Gave it a ride, but the Cardinals strand 2. We played 8. And Brown with we welcome you back to Roger Dean Stadium. Budweiser player of the game, Oscar Taveras, right fielder today with an outfield assist. Double, RBI, nearly 2 other hits. Good ball game for the Cards right fielder. Here's Jason Mott, Redbird closer. This is Mike Baxter. Takes a pitch inside. Numbers for Mott this season. Here in spring as Baxter turns on it. Baxter came up in San Diego with David Freese. They played A-ball together. You might remember his catch in left field to save the no-hitter for Johan Santana. Remarkable play in left, crashed against the wall. You knew something magical was about to happen after you saw that play. He was hurt after that. Began his college career at Columbia and then finished at Vanderbilt. Local product from New York. He played at Archbishop Malloy. Two balls and two strikes. Fly ball lifted to left. Adrian Chambers is there for out number one. Going back to that no-hitter by Johan Santana, Terry Collins was in one of the worst spots you could be in. You know, you had a guy, and you know that he shouldn't be throwing 134 pitches. That's a given. But then you also have a couple things working against you. One, it's never been done before in Mets history. Everybody knows history's on the line, but most importantly, you've got a veteran on the mound. He's won a Cy Young Award, and yet money is part of the equation. He's owed a ton of money. You want to save him, not hurt him. I mean, you're caught right in the middle.
He's coming off of surgery.
Yeah.
You know, so you had that factor in there. You know, it's a no-win, and it obviously you ask the pitcher, you want to continue. And if I'm not mistaken, Dan, weren't there a couple lengthy at-bats there in the ninth inning that really kind of jumped the pitch count up?
The Mets still owe Santana $31 million.
Yeah, and at the time, you know, it's a veteran guy. It's immortality. You know, you want to do it. You kind of raise some eyebrows if you asked your pitcher and said, no, I want to come out with a no-hitter.
Sure, you know what he's going to say.
So it's kind of tough. And as you said, you're hoping for the best for the rest of the season. And obviously it did have an adverse effect on him.
He gave the numbers. He wasn't the same guy after that.
ERA well into the 8s. And then, you know, finished the year on the disabled list, and he's not ready yet.
Well, the Mets are eating the salary of Jason Bay. He's now playing for Seattle, and there's talk that he may make the club there. That's $21 million that they had to eat on that contract, and then Santana's hurt. May not see him this year. They're thinking they will, but you never know.
David Wright, they did sign to a lengthy contract for a lot of money, and he's hurt right now, but they expect him, and hopefully we'll get him back, you know, in April.
The 2-2 is skied into left center. Chambers makes the catch. Cardinals down to their final 3 outs when we come back. Taveras, Descalso, Cruz due up in the bottom of the ninth. Once again, another reminder that Molina Gold Glove, the Platinum Award as well. You'll get that handout that Yachty is holding right there. He likes it. and you can too. Sunday, April 14th. Sunday, April 14th. Still tickets available at Cardinals.com. Only Miami had more blown saves than the Mets a year ago, and still uncertainty in the back end of their games because of Francisco, who had surgery in the offseason. And here is hard throwing Bobby Parnell.
Parnell had 7 saves last year versus Francisco, who had 23. And a lot of people think that, and Francisco had bone chips removed from his pitching elbow this offseason. A lot of people think that they will probably trade Francisco and then make Parnell the closer.
Here's Oscar Taveras. Off-speed pitch. Taken high and away. Parnell, as Al told you, does have experience in this role. 14 career saves. Kind of fits the profile, too. Hard thrower. His ERA at Citi Field last year was barely over a run. That's another reason that they may look at Bobby Parnell.
I mean, just his ERA overall was 2.49, and Francisco was 5.53.
A 2-0 pitch. Ooh, what a rip by Taveras.
Oh, you know, he's one of these young kids that does not get cheated, swings hard, but he makes contact, hits for a high average. And you just look at him, you know that at 20 years of age, that body's going to grow. He's going to get bigger and stronger.
A 2-1 pitch to Oscar Taveras. They say he'll chase the ball out of the zone in talking about Taveras, but the uncanny ability of being able to put the barrel on the ball and still drive it. And yet, even with chasing balls out of the zone, a year ago and really throughout his minor league career, albeit brief, he's had outstanding on-base percentage.
He's won 2 batting titles.
High chopper to the right side. This may be a base hit. Parnell to the bag. Not there. Infield hit. That's how baseball works out, because he had a couple of ropes that could have been hits. And this time it's a high chopper, and that turns into a base hit.
As soon as that ball hit down and you saw the high hop, you knew that there was going to be a good chance that he would end up on first base. So we talked about that, how hard it is right in front of home plate. You get a lot of these high hoppers. Parnell had to get over there and never got to the bag.
If you're wondering, Oscar Taveras had 10 steals last year, was caught 1 time at Springfield. Descalso here. Right-hander begins to throw for St. Louis. Lefty for the Mets. Certainly think about the bunt with Daniel Descalso.
Out of spring training games, you have the kind of an unwritten rule, extra inning games. You play only 10 innings. We'll see if that's in play, but first the Cardinals will have to tie it up. Rather just win it in regulation.
Mets have 3 ties this spring, the Cardinals with 1. Third baseman playing in, and now Parnell calls time. No balls, 1 strike.
Time was called. Ball got away from the Mets bullpen. If Taveras can't unnerve this battery.
A little bigger lead this time at first. 0-1 pitch. Descalso swinging again, and strike 2. Is this a product, Al, of spring training? Showing a little confidence here with Daniel, letting him swing the bat, or, you know, regular season play, you get the bunt down?
I think it is that, Dan, that, you know, hey, maybe in the regular season we asked to play for the tie, but here, let's see what you can do. And that's not what they wanted to see him do. But borderline pitch, it went Descalzo's way. Fielder Brown playing very deep, particularly with the left-handed hitter. Just outside, but
tough pitches to take.
yeah.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Tony Cruz on deck.
But all he asks is for a fair strike zone, and it appears that Jerry Meals has done a nice job today. I want the fastball. Set breaking ball.
A liner, and that's caught out there, and it's a double play.
Talk about some tough luck. Second time today the Cardinals have done that. They've lined into a double play. Nothing for Taveras to do. Doubled up off of first base, and there's 2 down.
Right off the top of the shoe tops. See him right here. Takes a secondary lead, the line drive, and he couldn't tell if it was caught or not, so he's trapped in no man's land. And a real tough running play.
And the final hope is Tony Cruz. 2 outs and nobody on. Cruz 0 for 3 with a pair of flyouts. He's also struck out and takes a breaking ball low.
I thought Tony did an outstanding job last year as a backup catcher. Not easy when you got the best catcher in baseball, Molina. You don't get a lot of starts, but he had a lot of confidence.
Nowhere to go, as you mentioned. No man's land there for Oscar.
Sinking line drive that's caught on the shoe tops. You know, if you don't run, you know, they're going to get you out. And it's hit so hard, you're going to complete the double play either way. So you really caught in between.
Had to wait for the official word there by the umpire.
Yeah, I mean,
literally have to wait.
You know, they'll talk to him about it, but it's really nothing you can do there.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Trying to extend the ball game to Adrian Chambers.
Saying that Tony as a backup catcher really worked very well with the pitching staff. There's an awful lot of preparation that goes in there, paying attention to those meetings between the starter and the catcher with pitching coaches.
1 ball and 2 strikes. 2-2. On the air tomorrow at noon. Marlins and the Cardinals, then the off day on Wednesday. Nice outfit.
He's ready.
Little chopper to short. This should do it. The Mets hold on, and they defeat the Cardinals by the score of 3-2.
Good ball game. Really liked what I saw from Westbrook. Pitching was good. And the Cardinals did get the monkey out their back. They were held scoreless for 25 innings. At least they got a couple runs.
We'll be back to wrap it up. Spring Training 2013 from Roger Dean Stadium. Back with more in a moment.